And speaking of user experience,
It's a good tie-in.
it's a good tie-in. Brings us to our next point. So user experience is a big part of how web design reflects with or connects with digital marketing. This also kind of relates to web development in some areas, but we'll try and stay on the web design train as much as possible. A site that looks great may keep a user's interest longer, but a site that functions well is going to keep that user long enough to become a customer. So if it's clear what to do next and is clear how to guide that user from the landing page to either contact you or call you, it's a much better user experience, and you're going to keep that customer or keep that user and make that user into a customer.
That's a funny term, user experience. I mean, it almost seems self-explanatory, but I'd like to unpack that a little bit. So, what do we mean user experience? What does that entail with respect to web design? What is that like, what they're doing on the site, or is it how they perceive it, or is it all those things?
It's all of those things. A lot of the time it also has to do with, can the user clearly see and experience what they're supposed to do next? If sure it's all happened. We click on an ad or we click on a post and we get to a web page and we know what we want to do. We want to do what the ad or what the post tells us that we can do, but we just can't figure out what to do next. And in some ways, like I mentioned, that does relate to web development, but the design of the page is going to show you clearly, this is where you need to go. This is your call to action or your CTA. And to make that more clear and make that visual appealing has a lot to do with the design of the page.
It's a pretty comprehensive answer. It's almost like you do this for a living, Sarah.
It's almost like this is what we do as a team.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. That kind of clears it up. And hey, a quick shout out to Dan joining us and watching. Hey, Dan, we definitely can see you there. So nice to see you today again. We talk about user experience and web development. So I wanted to kind of talk about the difference there. So we talk about web design and the difference. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're thinking in terms of web development, how they could also relate to that, is that kind of more like the programming side of things and modules and plugins and databases and stuff? Or
Justin, did you want to take that answer?
What was the question?
Well, we're thinking how this also relates to web development. So is there kind of a difference between web design and web development, how we look at it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that actually. At the moment.
Well, in my mind, it's kind of like, the web design is kind of the visual stuff, and the web development is maybe some of the stuff behind the scenes, like the back end stuff, the plugins you might use and stuff like that. I mean, I gather there's probably a lot of people out there who own a business or company and they got a website. To them, they might think web design, web development is the same thing. But when we think of it in terms of that, from our business and the kind of work we do every day, sometimes we're working on visual things and design and brand. Sometimes we're working on programmatic things and plugins and features and functionality. It seemed to me that's a reasonable dichotomy there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's easy to say it's black and white like that. There is a lot of tie-in, but for the most part, the web design is what you see and what you just visually what you experience. But then when you start clicking around and not playing with the site, but using the site and how those functions work together and how the pages move into each other and how the different features, like if you use a cart or you're adding to a cart or you go to the checkout, that's going to be the web development aspect.
Something that came up as I was just thinking about this topic as you guys were talking is this is maybe a little bit more of a niche area of kind of what web design is because it ties into kind of the functionality as well. But Sarah, you had alluded to web design having a lot to do with how easy it is to do what you want to do on that site's interface. And something that came to mind is that if I'm looking to book an appointment somewhere, I am probably at least 70% more likely to book an appointment with a company that has scheduling software built into their website than I am if it's like, okay, if you want to book an appointment, go to our about page and then click contact us and then send us an email here, right? I think that might be kind of an example of what you're talking about.
Yeah. And at the same time, if if it's clear to me that that's what I have to do in the beginning, I might be more likely to do that. But if I click on something that says make an appointment, and then I have to go to this page, and then I have to figure out on my own that I have to make the appointment through sending a message and then they get back to me, I'm much less likely to do that. But yeah, at the same time, if it is very clear, go to this thing, make an appointment, click a day, click a time, click a doctor or whatever, I'm going to do that pretty easily. And that's largely web development as well. But the fact that the page tells me how to do that and how to get there quickly, that's going to be a lot of design aspect.
The call to action is design. The action itself is the development.
Yep, absolutely.
Most of my day to day is really about, at this stage, is about working with some of our various accounts, bringing in new accounts, developing relationships, things like that. And so, to a large degree, I think a lot about expectations and expectation management. And it's funny to me to think about, for websites and stuff like that, it could be highly beneficial to manage people's expectations with what they're going to be doing on your website and what they need to do next and what's going to happen when they start doing those things. If they, fill out a contact form, they're like, yeah, we'll get back to you. And, does the thing send a follow-up confirmation email or something like that? Maybe that's a good thing. But people, they have their own biases and expectations even before they get to your website, right? Based on what people tend to probably expect from websites these days. And those expectations have probably grown a fair amount over the last 10 years or 20 years. We got into 20 years of the web. Oh man, geez. Yeah. What people used to think was state of the art. So you got some of these younger generations, their expectations for what a website can and should do and how it should perform is probably a bit different, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other thoughts on user experience? I like this one.
There's so much. We could probably do an entire chat on how user experience and web design work together.
What I'm hearing is we should.
Hi, this is Sarah from Denver Data Web. Thanks for watching. Please like our video and subscribe for future digital strategy chats. You can also visit our website at denverdata.com or find us on social media at Denver Data Web.